We are listening to the music of Ben Dixon this evening, and we want to just talk to him a few minutes about the historical Ben Dixon. I have your resume over there on the bench, and I went through it for a minute, and some of the names pop out right at me. Tell me some of those great musicians that you've had the honor, or I should say they've had the honor, and you've had the honor of being with.
When I first came to New York in 1956, I had the extreme pleasure of working with a gentleman that worked right here on Franklin Avenue named Rector Bailey. Maybe many people don't know him, but he was an organ player, and he was really an excellent musician and a fine person, and he helped me quite a bit, because I came here, I was like, about 21, and didn't know anybody. And so he kind of like mentored me and Webster Young along in terms of helping us resourcefully, you know. Then I worked with Sonny Rollins, and I worked around with many other musicians, and finally, with the Brooklyn musicians were, let me think of them: Johnny Toussaint, Fody Harris. I can't even think of all of them right now. It's been such a long time. Yeah. But then going on to the other greater musicians that I worked with, Kenny Dorham. I worked with Lou Donaldson for years. Grant Green I recorded with a lot. John Patton. Made my first recording with Ray Draper in 1957. And Howard McGee, I worked with his quartet and big band. I worked with numerous big bands around the city, Georgia, Frank Foster, and so on.
Well, your rock and roll days, I know you did a little something with, who's that, Lloyd Price?
Yeah, Lloyd Price I worked with, and we made about 8 gold records, and during that time we did something called Big Show of Stars. It would be about maybe 21, 22, 23 acts on a show, and most of them were the stars of the day: Paul Anka, whoever the stars were during that time. You know, I worked with them on the shows, and I can't think of all the names now.
Now you worked, I know you told me you worked in D.C. for a minute in your early jazz years. I think you mentioned a place, the Blue Mirror.
Yeah, well, the Blue Mirror is where the stars came from out of town. I worked locally with Buck Hill, with Gene Ammons, with Webster Young, Shirley Horn, and whoever else was in Washington. You know, I can't think of all of them right now, you know.
Bebop, you said, is the culture that you identify your music with. What is bebop to you?
Bebop is something that they call jazz. Sometimes it's called jazz, and then it's called bebop, but it's been thrown around, you know, and people use it for whatever particular reason they use for it to identify whatever they want to identify. But what I was raised on, I came from out of swing into modern jazz, listening to Max, Charlie Parker, and all the bebop musicians of the day. And see, because I came up in the 40s, and I would go to the Howard Theater, I'd hear everybody come in. So the music that I understand that's bebop and that's jazz is like a folk music. It's like a black folk music. So it's something that just comes out of me. I didn't even know it was in me until I heard it, and then it began to be a magnet and draw out of me the music that I had in me, and the same for other musicians. So as far as I'm concerned, bebop jazz is a black folk music.
Now, you were talking the other day, we were talking about the giants, and you had like a certain high level of respect for these stellar giants. If you had to put together your all-star group, of course, Ben Dixon on drums, and then who would be around you? I'm talking about the historical characters.
I wouldn't be the historical drummer, to tell the truth. Listen, it's so many guys. Like you have Kenny Clark. You know, you have Chick Webb. You know, you have Max. I mean, was a great influence on me. You know. And Art Blakey was a great influence on me. Philly Joe Jones, Kenny Clark, everybody, J.C. Hurd, everybody I heard was a great influence on me, you know. And I love and respect them all, you know, not just the drummers, but the musicians as well.
Who are your trumpets?
Oh, man, Kenny Clay, Kenny Dorham, Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, Roy Eldridge, Charlie Shavers.
Yeah. Somebody told me they want to name the trumpet player of the 20th century, and they said Lee Morgan would have been that person had Lee had the chance to stick around for a while. Well, how would you put Lee Morgan in it?
Well, you know, trumpet players, I mean, being truthful, would have to discuss that particular issue, but you had so many great musicians that contributed so much that if you don't get them together and let them define who that person would be, I don't think it would be actually correct for somebody like me, to
define that individual.
Exactly.
But you named some of your favorite trumpet players, and I think you started with Kenny Dorham.
Oh, Kenny Dorham, Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, Roy Eldridge, Charlie Shavers, I mean, and on and on and on. Big Eddie Williams, I mean, oh man, oh, so many trumpets. Arthur Hall, anybody you can think of that you could think of that's got a name. I mean, I love them, man. Buck Clayton. You know, whoever. I can't.
Now you have always had a proclivity to playing with bringing young musicians out, and is that your way of bringing them into the focus of the music through playing with you? Now would consider in the legend category.
I would say, yeah. I don't know about the legend piece, but I tried to pass on to them, you know, what I got from the Giants. And when I came in the 50s, those were the Giants, you know, and I'm a second generation bebopper. Though they were the first generation, you know. Yeah. And there you go, and Monk and all of them, you know. I mean, tremendous contributions. They're the one that's opened us up.
Yeah.
And we learned from them. So whatever the young brothers I got working with me didn't hear, I try to pass on to them, you know. And if I can't give that, I try to give them the essence of it. Which, I mean, which whatever they got in them is going to come out anyway, you know. So we can talk and we can play together, and they can learn from whatever I can give them.
Well, it's a good way to end it, but it's not ending it. We're going to hear the music. On this piece here, we're going to hear some of the original Ben Dixon music. So you get a chance to not only hear this great interview, but put the pedal to the ground, as they say, to the metal, right? With the music that you're going to be hearing now. So once again, we want to thank Brother Ben Abdul Qadir Dixon for bringing us this great music, as well as for bringing us this tradition we call bebop jazz. Peace.